A move is underway in California to change a lifetime requirement in the sex offender registration. And a reality TV show learns that what happens in a Mexican paradise could have major consequences in the U.S.
Plus, prosecutors in the Bill Cosby mistrial vow to fight again. So what could they do better next time from their point of view? Joining us now, Ambrosio Rodriguez. He's a criminal defense attorney and a former homicide district attorney who spent 13 years leading the sexual assault and child abuse unit in Riverside County. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Were you surprised by the mistrial in the Cosby trial, and what, from a prosecution point of view, could they have done differently, or should they do differently next time?
I wasn't surprised at all, given the judge's decision to limit the amount of other witnesses, that is, other women that have come forward. That type of evidence is very important for a prosecution. That's why the law has changed over the last 20 years to allow that. These types of cases are notoriously difficult to get a conviction on. There are always a lot of issues, especially since there was an ongoing relationship between Mr. Cosby and his accuser afterwards. So it's difficult to get a conviction in this kind of cases. And when you add celebrity and the kind of the firepower that he had as a legal team, I wasn't surprised at all.
And what could they do differently?
Well, I think they're going to try to have the judge revisit the issue as to the amount of witnesses that they can bring in of his prior accusers. I think one of the things they should do is speak with a jury consultant, with DAs are notoriously bad at using or not wanting to use, to kind of get feedback from the jurors as to what the issues were or weren't that prevented a conviction. I think there's a lot of speculation that race is an issue. From my experience, having done these type of trials both as a prosecutor and defense attorney, gender is the biggest issue. Women are notoriously very pro-defense in these kind of cases. It is difficult for them to convict for a lot of reasons. So I think that we would be surprised if we actually sat down and talked to these jurors as to why they did or did not convict.
We want to get your take on this next topic. California is among the toughest states when it comes to sex offender laws. Tell us about the move underway to change that lifetime requirement in sex offender registration.
Sure, there's a bill right now up in Sacramento. There currently, it doesn't matter if it's a misdemeanor that requires no jail time or a crime that includes violence and involves molesting little children, something of that nature, that you're doing 10, 20, 30 years in prison. Everybody's on the same list. There's 100,000 people on the list right now, and it's impossible for law enforcement to monitor them. So we have a system that's both impractical and unfair. Someone who commits a small-time misdemeanor, or even someone, an 18-year-old who, has sex with a 16-year-old girlfriend, is going to be on the same registry as someone who's, molested kids. And it seems both unfair and impractical because the impact that has on a person to be on that registry, I mean, they're really shunned for life. No one will hire them. They kind of become outcasts in society. That registry is very important, very necessary in order to keep people safe. But if we put everyone in it, then really we can't get any benefit of it. We can't really monitor the most dangerous ones.
Story that just literally broke within the hour. There was the whole ABC Back to Paradise show. There was allegations of misbehavior. They shut the show down. They sent everybody home. 2 of the contestants involved lawyered up. Now Warner Brothers says, hey, we've concluded our investigation. Nothing untoward happened, and we're going to resume production of the show. I'll tell you my feeling before I ask you yours. My feeling is this idea to bring the show back is to try to preclude those people from suing it, those 2 contestants.
Yeah, it's also great publicity as well.
Right.
I mean, this is kind of typical what we see. Something like this happens, and everybody's going to watch to see what happened in that episode. The fact that Warner Brothers did its own audit doesn't mean anything in terms of litigation. I mean, they're not just going to accept responsibility. I'm sure there's going to be long litigation going back and forth. There'll be depositions, and I would imagine that eventually there'll be a settlement. There almost always is. A company like Warner Brothers is not going to get brought down by these allegations. They're just going to pay it off like they always do.
Okay, I agree with that. And my thought would be you bring the show back to say, hey, there was nothing wrong here.
Right.
Doesn't that, I don't know, make a lawsuit less not less potent is the phrase I guess I'm thinking of.
No, because what happens in public opinion is very different than what will happen in the, in the courtroom and what will happen when they have depositions and going forward. It's really going to depend on her testimony. I mean, she's alleging that she was too intoxicated to give consent, similar to what happened with Bill Cosby. It is a crime to engage in sexual acts with someone who's too intoxicated. So that's going to be her argument. There's going to be issues back and forth. If this was being videotaped, how she acted, right? It was being filmed. How she acted, kind of outward physical signs of intoxication are really going to be part of the case. So it's really going to be a battle of lawyers, like always.
Ambrosio, thanks so much.
Thank you for
more
having me.
information about criminal defense attorney and former DA Ambrosio Rodriguez, you can check out his website. You can also follow him on Twitter. Thanks again.